G'day guys, Bruce here. So this next video that you're about to see, I don't usually do an intro, is what corrosion can do. My brother-in-law and I are working on my niece's and his daughter's Nissan X-Trail, and you'll see what can happen when two dissimilar metals are joined and then salt is introduced. So there you go. Enjoy. It's quite interesting actually. Thanks a lot. Okay, today we are just doing a short demo on something. It's actually not the process itself, but it's the demo of what corrosion can do. So this is my niece's X-Trail, Nissan X-Trail. They're good machines, right? And right down there you'll see that beautiful brand new shiny, what they call an A-arm. And they call them an A-arm because two of the pivot points are attached right there. And actually that pivot point is part of the torsion system too. It has a spring in there, right inside there. So anyway, we got this on. That's not the story, all of the story. So part of the story, okay, is the tie rod end on this is all one unit, so we had to change the whole unit. So we'll go to the old one and have a look at that on the bench. So here's the tie rod, and it's probably got 100 thousandths or more slack in there, so that's bad. So it had to be changed out, and I'm sure it's going to handle better when we're done. Yeah, let's go back to the new one. If you can stand going back and forth, I'll be gentle. So do you see that part there with the torsion bar right there? I'm going to try and do an upside down look at that. Right there. Do you see that guy with the two holes? 1 and 2. It's a flange that comes off of there. That's hard to do, but we got it. Okay, so you see the torsion system and then the two bolts. 1, 2. There's a missing bolt on the second side, right? You got that? So this is what you saw on the torsion underneath. So if this was a normal piece, the torsion would look like this and like that, right? We'll turn it 90 degrees. That'll work. Okay, so that and that. So that's what you saw from underneath, was that, right? I guess it would look like that from underneath if this was all together. Okay, so we'll just look at this. We disconnected all of the bolts, the main pivot bolt, the, what do you call that, the sway bar, the tie rod end. We had to cut that one off from corrosion too. And then with this end right here, the whole thing was disconnected, right? Everything was sitting like that. We'll just do the other one too, right? So those two bolts, we'll pretend went into the frame. And we got this one out. It's not quite the right bolt, but you get the idea. And then we put a cheater bar on this one, and we snapped off the bolt. So now we're wondering what the heck is going on. This thing is totally disconnected and it's still hanging off the frame. So we didn't know what to do. So we cut this wing off with an angle grinder with a very thin blade. You know, a blade like that, real thin. And then we cut it again here. So now this was off and laying on the ground, and this is still sitting there in the frame. And there's nothing, I mean, this should be like this, right? There was so much corrosion in there that the head snapped off and this became the bolt. And we got a pipe wrench, a big fat pipe wrench, and slowly turned this out of the frame, because there's a nut built into the frame, right? And we slowly turned that out of the frame. And we banged on this thing with a piece of pipe and a sledgehammer to try and get that off of there. And finally we got this off. So that is what corrosion can do when you have two dissimilar metals. Like this is aluminum and this is steel. Isn't that something? Originally we thought it was fused to the frame, not the aluminum to the bolt, and then we realized that that's how it was, and we turned it out. And then we could put the new one on. But in the process, we broke the bolt. And I know you're not supposed to reuse suspension bolts, but these are supposedly grade 10.9 metric bolts. So just a shout out to D&D Bolt in Red Deer. They got us a 10.9 bolt with the right thread. I'm going to put some anti-seize compound on there. And we're going to finish this up. All I have to do is put that second bolt in there and then get the tire on. So we're there. But I just thought I would show you what corrosion can do. I mean, that is supposed to come out of there. And it broke off a grade 8 bolt. Unbelievable. So might as well continue this video. I am putting anti-seize on every single thread on this bolt, just in case some poor sod 8 years from now has to take this apart. And we'll go underneath there and see how it goes. Okay, here we go. Let's see how this looks. Okay, good. Now they're two different sized bullets. That's all right. I don't even know if you guys can see any of this or not. Let me adjust it. There we go. Working alone is tough because you haven't got anybody to hand you anything. My brother-in-law had to leave town. I told him I would finish this job for my niece. Alright, let's put the big ratchet on there. Good, and we'll do the other one just a little. That's pretty tight. Okay, that's it, guys. Let's put the tire on. Okay, guys, we're just going to put this tire back on. Okay, so right now we've been holding the rotor on just with nuts until it doesn't come flying off. And yes, I'm going to torque these. Now this might be too low for us right now, because we've had this A-arm off. We'll just see right now. Index that right to the top. It's like NASCAR. No, we're good. There's a lot of weight on there. There we go. Okay, let's put her on the ground, nice and slow. And for those of you who have a bigger jack like this, a hockey puck works really good in the center, just takes the pressure off the frame. Alright, I'm just going to torque those to 110 foot-pounds.